that they dump their own currency. Today in Zimbabwe, they use two currencies, the US dollar and the South African rand. The two currencies being used for transaction in Zimbabwe. US dollar and South African rand. Nobody will touch the Zimbabwean rand. Because I remember when I was in my MBA, the professor of business economy, they brought a $1 trillion Zimbabwean. Just one, yeah, $1 trillion Zimbabwean. Well, no. So when you say the environment is steady, you're actually talking about the Canadian or the American environment. When you talk about the political, the social, behind it, without even mentioning it, you're talking in terms of a particular country. Your external environment analysis, you're talking your opportunities and threats. You're looking in a particular environment. The moment you exit that environment, those analyses, they're useless. Your internal analysis might still be useful, because for instance, when Walmart is coming to, when they came to Canada, they still use their what they have everyday low prices, CDLP or something like that. That's what they still using in Canada. And because Canada is similar enough, not completely similar enough to the US, it worked. Now, that same everyday low prices, when they took it to Germany, it flopped. Seriously. It flopped seriously because among the Germans, when Germans are very efficient. So there are people that are already doing that. There is a particular German grocer that is in the US, Aldi, ALDI. They beat Walmart in France. I don't believe it's possible. They beat even in the US. Even in the US, the first time I was like, no, that's not possible. Yeah, it is possible. Because when I buy, my children, they don't like going grocery shopping. Because I know the prices of what they do. So if you increase my 10 cents, I'm asking, why is it increasing my 10 cents? I'm good with numbers. So yeah, they beat the US. So when you say everyday low prices, no, it doesn't work in Germany. It's a different macro environment. Almost all your opportunities and strengthening has to be redone when you go outside the environment. The political, how important the politics is. We talked about, I'm not sure whether it's this class that was talking about China. In China, you do it the Communist Party way, or you don't do it. It's that simple. There is no, oh yeah, we have our opinion. We don't care. The Communist Party doesn't care about your opinion. And sometimes I actually think it's cool. The Communist Party don't care about your opinion. Because because you are very weak, you think you should dictate the policy. What's that guy who owns Alibaba? Jack Ma! He was sent to university somewhere to go and be teaching. He was sent to university somewhere to go and be teaching. You don't dictate. So it's a different political environment. And I think that's one of the things that you see, especially with US and Canada, it's like it's almost so integrated. So when 9/11, you know what 9/11 is, right? When 9/11 happened in the US, it was so, the first the instinctive reaction was, let us shut all the borders. So they basically shut everywhere, no one is moving. That was when the Americans knew how integrated they were with Canada. The auto industry was just paralyzed still. It's almost impossible to produce car in America without the suppliers in Canada. Because some cars, they start in America, they move to Canada, they move out to America, it's kind of like a back and forth thing. So those are the things that you have to consider when you're thinking international business. So it's not part of what you would call implementation, as it were. It's just that it's almost like a different strategy for each country. And many organizations that are transnational actually do that. They have different strategy for different countries, right? Because of the analysis of what goes on in that country, the way you consume things in that country, the belief system, right? The internet penetration. the purchasing power of people in that country. How much can you really sell in this country, given the fact the poverty? And of course, there are places that are just no. It doesn't matter how good your product is. For instance, intellectual property. There are places where, people are not straight, let's just put it that way. Copying is allowed. There are places all over the world where it's easy, where you can copy and nobody cares. So all those things are what you think about when you are doing international business. And of course, the government in many countries, they are also more or less business friendly than another. Europe, for instance, they are more regulatory, they are more stricter in their regulation than, say, the US. And usually Canada is somewhere in between. Canada is somewhere not as lax as the US. They are not as strict, usually not as relaxed as the US and not as strict as Europe. In the last, 50, 60 years, the global environment has been really, really integrated, right? Integrated in unprecedented way compared to what happened, say, 300 years ago. Outsourcing, stuff like that has been ongoing. I'm sure there's a class on international management, is there? There should be a class on international management. It's something that you might be interested in. You're going to really dig into this issue. Because sometimes those free flow of goods and services is not as free as you might think, right? There are pirates still operating somewhere in the coast of Somalia. Why is that important? Most of the world oil actually pass through that area. They call them Gulf of Eden, that zone, because for instance, Saudi Arabia produces 50 to 60% of oil that is exported, right? The US is actually one of the biggest producers of crude oil, just that it's consumed in the US. But the one that actually goes outside, exported, Saudi Arabia is the biggest producer. And most of it goes, not most of it, a sizable proportion goes on ships. So those places are still very important. So that's why when people say, oh, the Americans are so arrogant, yeah, they're arrogant, I'm not saying that. But policing all those areas, the Americans, if the Americans pull out of those areas, the global commerce will shut down. Really, it's cool. In tokens. If they pull out of that, because those areas, they're no man's land. Somalia or Djibouti, they don't have the strength in policing those big, massive waters. They don't have the strength. The Americans have to do it. Someone has to do it. The Americans are the ones doing it. Look at chiefs, generals, admirals all over those places trying to keep the peace. I'm not. I hope no Americans mind. So the point is, yes, it's smoother than it used to be, but it's not all good and dandy. Okay, there's protectionism. You know what protectionism is, right? People trying to protect their market. The West thinking the rest of the world is taking advantage, low cost and all that. There was a time, I think this was in the late 90s, early 2000s, that people were just shopping around. Corporations are just shopping around. They're looking for, the cheapest place to produce. And usually they will tell you it's because labor is cheap. And I'm not saying labor is not cheap, but regulation also is very cheap. Regulation in many of the developing countries, things that you cannot do in Canada, you can easily do it in many countries where the regulation is cheap. So, dealing with protectionism, the US and China, they're still at it. You don't know when they're going to stop. Probably never. So those are the things that you need to consider. For instance, why would that be important? If you want to produce in the US, let's say your strategy is to sell in China. Your strategy strategies to do is market development or whatever that strategy is. How are you going to do it? Are you going to go there to feed the factory, or are you going to be exporting? If you're exporting, it's going to affect your price. And for the long while, I'm sure the policies are changing. For the while, the Chinese government actually require that if you want to come and invest in China, you will have to have a local partner. India did that in the 70s and the 80s. They removed, I know they did that. But China is still, I think except for electric cars. I think electric cars is the only exception. You want to invest in China, that's why Elon Musk is playing there. Okay. What else do we want to talk about? I think this is another thing you want to consider when you are when you're thinking about international. There's a measure published by I think it's World Bank or IMF that we call ease of doing business. And this is basically what it measures. How to start a business. How long do you think it takes to start a business in Canada? To register a company, how long? Has anyone tried to register a company in Canada before, please? Less than 1 day? Did you try it? The US is ours. So what about Canada? Has anybody tried to register a business here in Canada before? Right? You're a whole business student. Come on, people. You registered yours. How long? It's about a day, right? About a day. Usually when in most advanced countries, you can just sit down behind the computer, do a name search, I don't know, some countries, some place you pay some fee, and that's all. I guess that one, I forgot, it was like 6 years ago. In Canada. It was straightforward. But there are countries where it could take you a year to get registered. So when you're doing your timeline, oh, this is what we're going to do. You got to understand which country are you going into and how long does it take to start a business there. Because when you're doing your strategy implementation, you have to talk about all these things, right? Are you going to be exporting to those countries, or are you going to start your own organization there? Because this is going to affect, if it's very difficult, what are the strategies that you can use? To acquire, right? Acquire another organization that's already in there, greenfield investment and all. So, protect investors, pay taxes, taking your money out. That's another one. You want to invest in a country where you can actually pull out your investment. You'll be surprised how many countries that's very difficult. I'm sure they will have taught you something like this. Transfer pricing and management account, right? Something like that. And management accounting. Some organizations actually load their profit on their product to get out. That's the only way. That's the only way they will get their investment out of the country is when you load. So you produce something for say $10, you're transferring it to your other organization, say like I don't know, $20, so that when you load your profit, or else you won't be able to get your money out. It's a lot of management accounting thing. That's about it. The most important thing for you to know about this is that you go outside the country, it becomes 1,000-fold more complex. Let's just put it that way. The complexity that your strategy involves in moving a product from here and selling in Vancouver, which is 3 time zones away, is less than if you're going down south to Detroit. South to Detroit or not? The south. South to Detroit, which is 20 minutes away. That's the whole idea. Vancouver is 3 time zones away, but it's still the same geographical entity. Down south, different. Okay, Team 10, are you ready? Did you send your slides? Okay. Let's get And please, if you could get your reflection papers out, that would be great. And after they present, after Tim 10 presents, we will do KSPM.
Delete the previous one which I sent. A better one, detailed one is coming.
Hello everyone, this is Tim Chen. Today we're going to talk about the company L'Oreal, and we're going to mention 9 parts, which will be the introduction, vision animation, editors, internal factor evaluation, external factor evaluation, world analysis, competitive profile factors, space metrics, and recommendations. And now let me introduce the company L'Oreal. So L'Oreal is the world's largest beauty product company, structured into 4 branches, which are L'Oreal Luxe, which includes the Lancome and Urban Decade, consumer products, which include Maybelline and N1X, professional products, which include Redken and Matrix, active cosmetics, which include SkinCeuticals and Vichy. L'Oreal has a portfolio of over 30 international diverse and complementary brands, which are sold across 140 countries, with sales amounting to 26 billion euros in 2017. L'Oreal employs 89,300 people worldwide, has 42 production plants worldwide, and 473 registered patents. The company's income and net income in 2017 was for 4,676 billion euros and 3,586 billion euros respectively. So L'Oreal's vision and mission? Its vision is stated on its official website, like, our ambition for the coming years is to provide millions of consumers around the world with cosmetic products that meet the infinite diversity of their needs and desires. And L'Oreal's mission statement is like, our business is beauty because beauty enables all individuals to express their personalities in self-confidence and open up to others. Beauty is a language, it's universal, it's a science, and it's a commitment. So we offer beauty to all. Despite all the success that of L'Oreal, it also has a lot of competitors, such as Estée Lauder, Avon, Kodak, Mary Kay, Revlon, and Coty. Now my team members will give you more details.
Talking about the internal factor evaluation for L'Oreal, we divided like 10 strengths and 10 weaknesses. Starting from the strength, we all know L'Oreal is a really reputed brand. It has very good brand value. It also has a very good and a strong distribution network. And what's another strong point for L'Oreal is it uses the word we, which makes the customer feel included, and it also creates a very strong customer involvement. L'Oreal is also known for its innovative products. For example, it also has implemented tools and technologies like virtual try rooms and personalized skincare. L'Oreal also has one of the largest market capitalization, especially when it comes to the beauty production, with $121 billion in 2017, which was the case. It also, the strength from 2016 to 2017, L'Oreal also had increase in gross profit, net income, as well as revenue. And L'Oreal also has a very diverse and talented workforce with employees employees of over 150 nationalities. Talking about the weakness of L'Oreal, there is no chief operating officer, which makes it difficult for decision making. And like I said, the strength is that it has a diverse workforce, but the weakness from this is because of this huge number of workforce, it's difficult. It has a very high capital expense. And there's also frequent change in slogan of L'Oreal, which also confuses and undermines the company's message. And it also has overemphasis on the Asian Pacific region, whereas it does not have growth in African and Middle East area. Now I tend to be talking about the external factors.
My team conducted an external factor evaluation for L'Oreal because this analysis will help us understand the opportunities and threats present in the company's external environment, providing valuable insights for strategic planning. So, the top 5 opportunities for L'Oreal are global market expansion. L'Oreal has the opportunity to expand into new markets globally, leveraging its diverse portfolio of brands and capturing untapped consumer segments. The second one is strategic acquisition. Acquiring struggling competitors of complementary businesses can significantly enhance L'Oreal's market position and portfolio, fostering growth and diversification. Technological integration. Leveraging technology to enhance consumer experience and innovation can provide L'Oreal with a competitive edge in the digital beauty landscape. The fourth one is innovation in research and development. Continued investment in R&D can fuel innovation and product development, keeping L'Oreal at the forefront of the beauty trends and technology. The last one of their opportunity is customization and personalization. Offering personalized beauty solutions can drive customer loyalty and cater to individual preferences, enhancing brand engagement. And their top 5 threats are intense competition. Facing stiff competition from global beauty niche brands poses a significant threat to L'Oreal's market dominance. Consumer shifts in preferences. Adapting to changing consumer preferences is crucial for sustained success in the beauty industry. Third one, regulatory compliance. Staying compliant with regulations is essential for L'Oreal to avoid fines and legal challenges. Brand reputation risks. Risks to brand reputation from negative publicity or ethical controversies can erode consumer trust. The last one, economic downturn. Economic downturns can impact consumer spending on beauty products, affecting L'Oreal's revenue. So in conclusion, L'Oreal faces numerous opportunities in expanding its global presence, leveraging technology and innovating in product development. However, it must also navigate significant threats such as intense competition, regulatory challenges, and cybersecurity risks. By capitalizing on its strengths and mitigating these threats, L'Oreal can continue to thrive in the dynamic beauty industry landscape.
Moving towards the SWOT analysis. So after completing their IFE and EFE, we came up with following strategies which L'Oreal could use to further develop their brand. So matching the strength 1 with opportunity 1, we have reputable brand value plus global market expansion. So we recommend L'Oreal has a strong brand to further penetrate into emerging markets, building on customer trust and loyalty. Then talking about the strong distribution network combined with e-commerce growth opportunities available, we can utilize L'Oreal's extensive distribution network, enhance its online shopping experience and reaching more customers in remote locations. Then being an innovator in this sector, combined with the technological integration we have available in the market, we can use L'Oreal's innovative capabilities to integrate augmented reality and artificial intelligence, enhancing customer experience and product offerings. Then high market capitalization combined with strategic acquisitions could help L'Oreal capitalize financial stability to acquire complementary businesses and expand its product portfolio and market presence. Then talking about the sustainable initiatives which L'Oreal is currently promoting, combined with the sustainability initiatives being conducted in the market, there is an opportunity to develop and expand sustainable products in lines with eco-friendly packaging to meet the growing consumer demand for an environmentally sustainable brand. Then talking about combining strengths with threats, we have a reputable brand value and also an intense competition in the sector. So to promote brand, we recommend L'Oreal to promote brand loyalty programs and marketing to retain market share amidst stiff competition. And then we have seen that there is a high market capitalization achieved by L'Oreal, and then there is an economic downturn currently going on in the case as mentioned. So we can leverage financial stability to invest in market and innovate during economic downturn, which allows us to capitalize on the financial resources we have. And then moving on towards sustainable initiatives and then consumer shift in preferences. So we can realign L'Oreal's brand towards sustainability efforts with growing trends towards clean beauty and ethical sourcing, staying ahead of customer preferences coming in the future market. And then talking about diverse workforce and geopolitical instability, we can utilize diverse insights and agility of L'Oreal workforce to navigate and adapt to geopolitical changes in various moving towards weakness and opportunities. So there is intense competition in the market, and then there is a global market expansion going on. So L'Oreal can innovate and differentiate its product to gain competitive advantage in new emerging markets. And then the second point talks about lack of vision statement and strategic acquisition. So we can define a clear vision statement that aligns with strategic acquisition, ensuring a cohesive growth strategy. Human capital, high human capital expense is known to be a weakness in the industry, and then there is an opportunity, as I mentioned before, for e-commerce growth. So we can optimize online platforms to streamline operations and reduce reliance on extensive human capital. This way we will be cutting costs and having revenue being generated through online streams. Then there is a high attrition rate combined with an opportunity to invest further in R&D, which is research and development. So we can invest in employee retention strategies and training programs which further promote innovation, and then which helps us reduce the turnover, fostering a culture of creativity in the company. Then combining weaknesses with threats. So there is an absence of COO in the company right now, and then there are supply chain disruptions going on. So we can address operational vulnerability by appointing a COO to oversee and strengthen the supply chain, mitigating disruptions. Further, there is a frequent slogan changes by the brand, and then there are brand reputation risks. So we can stabilize brand messaging and then avoid frequent changes to safeguard against reputation risk and maintain consumer trust. Then there is a negative growth in the specific regions where L'Oreal conducts its business, and then there is market saturation going on, which is a threat to the company. So we can reassess and adapt market strategies to regions with negative growth, focusing on differentiation to overcome the market saturation. Then the last point I have for you is undefined positioning and then shift in customer preferences. So we can clarify L'Oreal's brand positioning to align a specific evolving customer preference in the mind of consumers in different markets, to especially promoting clean beauty and sustainability.
So competitive profile practice is a strategic analysis tool to assess the competitive positions of various companies within an industry. Understanding the competitive landscape in the beauty industry is crucial for companies like L'Oreal to formulate effective strategies and gain a competitive
contribution to overall competitiveness for example criteria such as brand portfolio and trend in global presence as the item to high rates with a significant impact on market performance. The rating assessment are assigned to L'Oreal and its major competitors, Estée Lauder, Avon, and Revlon for each criteria based on its performance. By comparing the overall scores derived from the CPM, we can identify L'Oreal's competitive position related to its rivals, and it is competing very closely to Estée Lauder. To conclude, the CPM analysis underscores the importance of continuous evaluation and adaptation in response to changing market dynamics. Moving forward, L'Oreal must leverage its strengths while addressing weaknesses to maintain and enhance its competitive position in the industry, which it lacks mostly on improvement of financial performance and the managerial skills.
Okay.
Rated all the components of the matrix. As you can see, L'Oreal falls into aggressive quadrant. And for the recommendation part, we have 5 recommendations for L'Oreal: enhance digital and e-commerce, expand into emerging markets, strategic acquisitions and diversification, innovate through R&D, and lean and sustainable.
Thank you so much. Don't worry, if it's on a slide, you don't get the point down. I've said that. So whether you presented it or not, that's good. Thank you, Team 10. Because yours, Team 1 and Team 10, they have, please bring it. They have a very special place because Team 1, they're the one, they don't even know what is going on, they just jump in. So let's give a shout out to Team 1. Team 1, where you are? I say shout out to you. You're the first to just bite the bullets. And Team 10, Team 10, say, oh yeah, what about Team 10? Team 10 has the most content. They have the most content to deal with this. Thank you, Team 10. So thank you so much. Shout out to you too. And I think you did a good job there. Okay. 2 things. Number 1, what's it called? If you submit an exception, you remember, those are submitted, you see, I'll put the section at the back. That's the one you submit out of cycle. I usually upload the grade with the class, so I'm trying to process this in my head and then tell you what I'm trying to do. So let's say you submit an exception for reflection 5 for today. I'm not going to go back immediately and change your grade for reflection 5. When I'm grading reflection 10, that's when I'm going to grade your reflection 5. Because I've got a couple of emails, I'm still reflecting 0. Yeah, it's because I've not graded the one you submitted into it. So for folks that submitted theirs last class, if you've not seen it reflected, it's because I've not graded reflection 9. Whatever you submit last class, I'm going to grade it into reflection 9. Alright? So when I'm grading reflection 9, because it's reflection 9, that's okay, this person is supposed to, this is reflection 3 for them. Then I'll go and edit your check. But if you submitted reflection, if you submitted yours, your exceptions with reflection 7 or reflection 8, and you did not see your grade change, please email me. Alright? So let's say you miss reflection 3, and then you resubmit with reflection 8. I should have changed your grade now. If I haven't, please send me an email, okay? Does that make sense? So you can, for this reflection 7, you can submit it today, but you have till the last day of presentation to submit. Alright? So if you didn't bring it today, don't say, oh, that's all. No. You can bring it on Thursday, you can bring it, don't bring it until the time of the exam. Let's spare the day of the exam, let's just focus on the exam. You can bring it on any of the day that people are presenting, even if your team is not presenting. You can walk in and say, Abby, I'm doing the reflection, this is okay? And I promise not to make you wait. If it's not a team, of course. Alright? So, you can bring it till the last day when team 6 and 10 are presented. After that, there is no class meeting and I don't take my email. Okay? that sounds fair? Okay. Questions about that, please let me know. I think I will get reflection 9 and 10 this weekend. So if you look at your reflection paper grade, and it's not showing what you essentially submit. Okay. So thank you so much. We're going to use Team 10's presentation to talk about what's it called? So let's talk about the very last. So what we have been doing, what class? What we have been doing is to, number one, we started with analysis, which is your IFE, your EFE, and CPM. Does that make sense? We're analyzing the current situation. Then we go to strategy formulation, which is your SWOT matrix, combination of your IFE and EFE, that's your SWS, all those matrices. That's what we've been doing. It's essentially the same thing. SWOT matrix is just giving you a strategic recommendation. The same thing with space matrix. The space matrix is the grand matrix, RE, BCG. All of those have recommendations depending on where your organization falls. Sometimes the recommendation will say related diversification. You have to translate that to a concrete strategy. All right? So if, for instance, one of the, they can say forward integration. Now it is you as a strategist that have to look at, okay, what would forward integration do for this organization? Does that make sense? So it's not just, the space matrix said we should do forward integration. Yes. So what would be the forward integration? You can go and look at your SWOT, your SW, because that's the thing. It's not one matrix and done. You got to look at all the matrices. Okay, this is what we saw. So this says we should do forward integration. In our SOST strategy, there's forward integration there that we can use. Or based on our analysis, what is the best way to do? Market is suggesting market development. What can we do for market development here? Is there an organization that we can, market penetration? Is there an organization that we can buy, right? So that's up to you. The matrices will not tell you that. That's up to you. That's why some of you, this is your last class. Because we expect you to bring all the knowledge that you've gained in other classes to make those informed decisions. Okay? The matrices will just tell you, this is the most optimal set of strategy in this place. It is you that will say, okay, given what we have done, given all the things, I have enough information to say, expand into Brazil. That's my market development, and that's market development. Expand into Brazil. This product is going to sell more in Brazil. Now, how are you going to do that? What is the impact of that? Now, that said, what I'm going to ask you to do for your presentation, and this actually is also your final exam, is that you're going to compare. So after you've done that, you should have multiple options, right? Does that make sense? For any particular case, you should have like multiple options. So what we are trying to do today is to compare those options. The QSPM, that's what it does. It compares those options based on your IFE and EFE metrics. That's what the QSPM. So when you made up, okay, these are the three big strategies that we are going to do. Now I want to compare those strategies. That's what we want to do today. Now, two things. Number one, for your integrative case analysis, you will come up with those strategies. Your team will say, okay, given what we've done, these are the three strategies we want to come up with, we want to evaluate. For the final exam, now listen to it carefully. For the final exam, I will give you the strategy. The one that you're going to take home. For the final exam, you are going to do all the analysis that I asked you to do, but the options that you are going to compare for your QSPM, I will give it to you. Now, this is very important. The reason why this is very important is this. I will generate multiple options, and I'm going to give each of you different options. So if you did not do the option I gave you for the final exam, it is 0 for that question. And I think 6 or thereabout people got 0 in the last class. So generate options. I will tell you, usually what I did, for the last class, which is, I'm going to do something similar. For the last class, what I did was to generate 8 options, and I used, I don't know whether it's permutation or combination, to randomly pick 3. So I can say you are going to do 1, 4, 7, and you are going to do 3, 4, 7. If you choose not to do 3, 4, 7, it is 0 for that question. Does that make sense? I will email you, I will tell you, ABC, you are going to do 158. You are comparing one strategy 158 for your exam. If you choose to do 358, that's okay. It's just a 0. It's okay. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying you're going to get a 0 for it. And I think I got email like, oh, what happened? You did what I asked you not to do. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So this is the final exam. I'm going to be very clear about this from now. The final exam, so I will tell you, I will list strategic option 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I will list it out like this and email it to you. It's going to be part of the final exam. And I will tell you each person the combination of strategy they are supposed to do. Okay? So I can say compare strategy 2, 3, 8. That's you. That number is only specific to you because I want to be sure that you as a person knows how to do this. So if you don't know how to do this, you better talk to me before the final exam. Does that make sense? Because again, was it 5 or 6 people last time? I said it in class, just like this. Please don't do what I don't ask you to do. If you do it, that is 0 for that particular question. It's not for the whole exam, because but that question has the biggest weight. The question for comparison has the biggest weight. Okay? Like 30% of what you QSPM. So that's what we are doing today, QSPM. So the QSPM, what we try to do with the QSPM is to compare different strategies. Okay? That's what we do for the QSPM. So which is what we're going to do today. Again, we are building, so you understand the IFE, right? Do we all understand the IFE? Is there someone that doesn't understand the IFE here? The EFE, do you understand the EFE? So actually you're using the IFE and the EFE to determine which of the strategy to pick. Let's go down that route. So yes, this is the QSPM which we are talking about today. You use it to compare these strategic options. Now, for the let me repeat myself. For the integrative case analysis, that's when you're doing your presentation. You will come up with the strategies you are comparing. Does that make sense? Your team, will come up with a strategy. For the final exam, I will come up with a strategy. I will send a list of 8 strategic options to you, and I will tell you which 3 you have to compare. And those 3 will be unique to just you, not your team members, not your. Does that make sense? So when I said 2, 3, 8, that's just one person. Another person will get 2, 3, 7, 2, 3, 9, 2, 3, 8. Good? Okay, let's quickly talk about the QSPM. So what I plan that we do today is that we're going to use Team 10's stuff to do this, and then on Thursday we'll do another one. Okay? On Thursday we'll do another set, which we'll try to look at everything from beginning to the end, and then we'll come up with what they call it. Yes.
For the final exam, the question you said to give us 1 week before.
For the final exam?
A week before the
Yes, yes, everything, all I'm telling you now, you will get it a week before the event. And if you're not in class, at the beginning of class, I was talking about this, that I did not get, what's it called? I checked on my calendar or whatever, I forgot that thing, student or students or faculty center, there is no date for a final exam. So I'll check with the MOM office and see if that was an oversight or because it's because that I told them already that it's going to be a take-home final. If it's because there's going to be a take-home final, then we're going to, what we do is we will, the very last day of class, final, we'll take that as a day and I'll give you 7 days before the last day. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? So whatever is the last day of the final, if they did not give us any day, whatever is the last day of the final will give us, I'll count 7 days prior, and then I'll give you the questions, then see after 7 days. Does that make sense? Alrighty, so let's talk about it. So the KSPM is a decision matrix. Basically, you come up with different strategic alternatives and you want to compare them. That's basically it. We like giving ourselves long names and all that. So, like, look at this. Basically, what it does is you put up these key factors. You have external and internal factors. And you're not doing this again, okay? All these external and internal factors, they're basically the factors that you had in your IFE and EFE matrix. So basically what you're actually doing, and we'll see it now. So the weight is the same. The weight is the weight that you assigned in your IFE and EFE matrix. You don't need to come up with the weight. So the weight is what you are, so the weight, now, the question you want to ask is what they call the attractiveness score. So what the question you're asking is, this particular strategy, how attractive is it for this particular internal factor? Let me give you an example. Let's say one of the internal factors that you identify is strong brand image. That's an internal factor. And your strategy is to acquire a new organization. How attractive is that, your strong brand image? Or let's compare it. Between acquiring a new organization and opening a new shop, which one is more attractive to your strong brand image? Which one will leverage your strong brand image more? Between acquiring new organization or opening new stores? Is that the consensus of the class? So you got a strong brand image. You're very well known. Between acquiring new organization or opening new store, which one do you think is more attractive to your strong brand image?
Opening new stores.
Why? Okay, so let's talk about the people that are saying acquiring new stores. Why do you think the strong brand image help you acquire new one? So I'm not acquiring a competitor. No, you're talking about strong brand image. So we're talking about attractiveness because we're talking about attractiveness based on strong brand image because you're picking them one by one. We're not picking everything. We're just picking strong brand image. Between acquiring new and opening new stores. So how does strong brand image translate to acquiring new? How is it attractive to that? Opening new stores. It's not attractive to opening new stores because people know you. In fact, one could say having a strong brand name is bad for you if you're acquiring because people are going to think you have money. They will ask you for more. If Facebook wants to acquire you, you don't tell them, oh, they're Facebook, let's give them less price. No, 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 no. You want to guard Facebook. Because if you're acquiring a competitor, they know you. This is the biggest person that can acquire you in this industry. You get a premium. They're going to charge you a premium. But if you're opening new stores, imagine when this WhatsApp is by Facebook. There's a reason why they say WhatsApp by Facebook. Because then people tend to take it out rather than WhatsApp by WhatsApp. Because a strong brand image. So brand image is attractive to us consumer, not to your competitor. They know you already. They talk to your folks before. They don't need your brand image. So that's what we are talking about when we say attractiveness scores. Again, the idea is that so when you pick one particular factor, you look at the attractiveness score for the true strategy, and then you do it for all the other factors down there, and then it's just basically multiplying the structures by the weight and summing it up. We'll come to that just now, okay? So this is the make a list of key excellent opportunities and threats which you have already done. I want you to know that this number one, you already done. Number 1 and 2, you've done that already in your IFE and EFE matrix, right? All your IFE matrix must have weight. Am I right? EFE matrix 2 weights. So you've done that. So number 2 is basically to say what are the strategies. Number 3, that's number 3. Say 2 matching matrices, identify alternative strategies, which is what I was talking about. And then you've done number 3 too, right? Before you get to this point, you've done number 3. Because that's what your space matrix, your IE matrix, your PCG matrix, that's what they do for you. You pick the top 3. Now, we'll see that now. In the Excel sheet, it's usually two columns. You have to do 3. Find a way to make it 3. You are more savvy with Excel than I am. So determining the attractiveness, so basically you're picking it one by one, and each one you're asking how attractive. Some, there's 0 attractiveness. There is no, it doesn't translate. Right? Strong brand image does not have, let's say your strategy is to do cost minimization. There's nothing strong brand image does for that. It's not a correlation. Don't force it. Okay? It's okay for it to be 0. But if it's 0 for one strategy, it has to be 0 for all the other strategies. I'll practice and some the total attractiveness for us. Let's go. And draws downside and everything about this particular approach. You can see those on the slide. I'm more concerned with you us doing this in class. So if you could go to your teams, as usual, let's do team. Again, I told team, let's do, oh, that's nice. So let's go to our team's place with one person at least opening, with one person opening their computer. So this is the QSPM. Okay, so this is the QSPM. So this is what we're talking about. Look at the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities and threats. Now, this is the second part I'm talking about, is the weight, the AS rating, the attractiveness rating is to be a 0 to 4. Okay? Now, usually the case allows us to do 2 options. So let's say the AS rating for 2. Okay? The AS rating for 2, you want to make sure it's 3. Let me see. I can't make it. I know some of your folks edited it last time, but I'm not sure. So let's do it. So you have to find a way to make it 3 instead of 2. That's what I mean. That's my point. Because strategy 1, strategy 2, I want to do strategies for that. Okay, let's look at. So the first thing, what's the first thing that I want to do here? Let me see if you have been following my So the first thing you want to do is basically you want to put the strengths and weaknesses. So I think if you, let me see if you, I think if you do something SWOT. Let me see if you put some, I want to see if you put it in the IFE, you'll find it there.
Yes.
If you put something in the IFE, you'll find it there. Okay. So if you put out something in the IFE, it's supposed to populate. Just I'm trying to see, do it in a way that where is your IFE? In which slide contains your IFE? Okay. Trying to copy it. So I'm just copying from Team 10. Team 10, thank you. Allowing us to do so. Because again, do you understand what I'm doing? Hello? I'm just basically copying from Team 10. So when you populate it this way, it's going to should be part of the QSP. So it has translated to the QSPM. Those things that I know it's not showing very well because so the opportunities and all that. Let me put. Let's see. I can see where's the strengths and weaknesses. Oh, okay, I see. Again, what I'm just doing is I'm copying what Team 10 did. So Team 10, can you tell us your favorite 3 strategies when you make the combination? So as it is now, all of these have gone into, will have gone. If you've done that, it's going to reflect here. So all you are asking yourself now is how attractive. So this is a QSPM. The question you're trying to ask here is how attractive are these? No. I'm going to guess you know what to do from here. Is that good? We'll talk more about this on because our time is up, technically. We'll talk more about this on Thursday. What I will ask you to do for the Coca-Cola case is, for each team, I will tell you the matrix you're supposed to work on, and then by Thursday, you bring those matrices to class. We use it to generate recommendations, and then we do a full-blown one. But the idea is this: if you do, I'm sure all of us had an IFE and EFE for the Coca-Cola. Is that correct?
Yeah.
I think everybody, every team. So you don't need to change. Don't change your IFE and EFE matrix. You already have those, and I'm sure they probably are populated. If you have it, they've already populated your QSPM. So let's just go from there. So we'll talk about the attractiveness, because all you are missing here is basically the attractiveness score. The moment you put the attractiveness score, it generates on its own on the QSPM slide. Okay? On the QSPM tab, rather. All we're missing now is just the attractiveness score, the strategy and the attractiveness. That's all we're missing. It's not as difficult as it seems, okay? We've done all the hard work. I'm just going to wrap up on Thursday. Thank you so much, everyone. I will see you on Thursday. No, you didn't lock them on. So what you can do is either you copy and paste in a different Excel sheet and use. No, it's not. The second option you can do is to